Let's listen to this.
In lots of ways over the last couple of years, but how bad the Israeli PR game is, you know, and that like it's almost like they were just so accustomed to the old way of doing things.
They're so accustomed to people being terrified of being labeled anti-Semitic.
Yeah, someone criticizes you, you label them as a bigot, and you destroy their lives, and that works. It doesn't work anymore.
Minor jokes.
Yeah. Well, and there's like, you know, I think it's so I've been using this like analogy or comparison lately, and I think like, so if you remember when Joe Biden had that disastrous debate with Donald Trump, and everybody, like the debate opens, and everybody watching it knows this is over. Right. Joe Biden is done. I mean, it was so bad, but it's not just that it was so bad. I mean, it's the, you know, before the debate, you know, there's Rachel Maddow at a desk with a bunch of people. We're now going to the first presidential debate. Joe Biden's going to kick his ass. They were already talking about how it was, remember the term deep fakes? That they came up with, where it's or cheap fakes. I'm sorry,
yeah, cheap fakes.
It's not a deep fake, but it's kind of like a deep fake. See, they're showing you a real video of Joe Biden being senile, but see, that's just as fake as a deep fake because they didn't include the context or something like that. That was the talking point that right before we go into the debate cuts. It goes back to the same panel, and they go, "We got to find a new candidate." Like they acknowledged that, and part of the reason why we all knew it was over in that debate was it wasn't just how bad the debate was. It was that now you have to admit this. You know, you were pretending this thing didn't exist. Now you got to admit it exists. And once you admit it exists, there's now a microscope on Joe Biden like there never was before. So tomorrow when he's doing an interview and he mixes up a name, that may not have been such a big deal 2 days ago, but after that debate performance, when he mixes up another name, now you're like, look, there it is again. He's senile. Everything became amplified after that point. And I think...
Don't you think they set him up?
Yes, but sure, that's his whole separate issue, but yes, I do think they set him up. But I think a similar thing has happened with Israel, where now everyone's looking at it, and everyone's watching, and everyone's going, wait, what the hell is going on here?
That's a great analogy.
What is this?
Yeah.
So wait, a pedophile can just go flee to Israel? How many other pedophiles have gone and fled to Israel?
Quite a few.
And now it's like, oh my God, they've opened Pandora's box, and there's just, I think, no way to put this back in because it's too weird. It's too weird to not notice. And that doesn't mean you have to like jump to the conclusion of like, you have to hate Jewish people or something like that. I'm not advocating anything like that. But you do kind of have to question the relationship between DC and Tel Aviv and like what is going on here, because this is so utterly bizarre. You know, it's so crazy to see like the American people are against what Israel's doing to Gaza. It obviously hurts it hurts our, they use in the preamble to the Constitution. I like that phrase, domestic tranquility, right? This is destroying our domestic tranquility. We got protests. We got people fighting over this stuff. We're pissing off the Muslim world again, which we've already had to deal with, them hating our guts. Now
we're deporting students.
We're deporting legal residents because they had the wrong opinion. This is all, and like, it's impossible to not look at this and go like, hey, what's going on here? And they don't have any answer for that. And you know, the other thing, too, is that it's just, I don't know if you've known of American politics. Like, this is the thing you are not allowed to talk about. This is the thing that would get you fired from CNN, would get you kicked out of D.C., would get your career ruined. You know, Pat Buchanan made a joke once on the McLaughlin Group, like years ago, like decades ago. He made a joke once where he said something about, he said Congress is Israel-occupied territory or something like that. And he, for the rest of his career, this was the scandal. This was, hit pieces were written about this. Now, the young people are totally outside of that ecosystem, and they're just hearing from different people, and they're like, no, I'm not buying it. And it's, you know, I think it's a mix of a few things. Like, I think it's just that, you know, we have the technology, it's in 4K. You can see what Israel's doing to Gaza. It is so evil that it's damn near impossible to find a way. I mean, some people do, but it is really difficult to find a way to be like, I'm actually okay with that. It's been going on for years at this point. And then the second thing is just that, like, the relationship between the U.S. government and the Israeli government is so freaking bizarre that once you see it, and once a whole generation of young people see it, it's like impossible for them to unsee it. And you know, it's just too weird.
In New York City mayoral politics.
Yeah, like this is, and the idea that it is, you know, the idea that it's just accepted as normal that the politicians for your country must worship this other country? And you're like, so what did that other country like beat us in a war and they're occupying us now? And you're like, no, you're the superpower. They're your welfare country, you know? But yet you must go kiss their wall. You must say, hey, Tammy Bruce from the State Department. Literally just, and I know she was kind of being tongue-in-cheek, but where she goes, we're the greatest country in the world. Well, second greatest to Israel. And you're like, what?
Was she being tongue-in-cheek?
I don't know exactly. She kind of...
It was a weird thing to say.
It's still... That is a weird thing for any representative of your government to say. If anyone sat there and just went, you know, I think America's the greatest country in the world. Well, Finland, I guess, is the greatest. And we're number 2. You'd be like, what? I'm like, Finland's a cool country. I got nothing against them, but what are you talking about, you know? But really, I do think it's the relationship. It's how horrible what Israel's doing is, and it's how clearly it's not in our national interest. You do kind of have to question the relationship between DC and Tel Aviv and like what is going on here, because this is so utterly bizarre. You know, it's so crazy to see like the American people are against what Israel's doing to Gaza. It obviously hurts it hurts our, as they use in the preamble to the Constitution. I like that phrase, domestic tranquility, right? This is destroying our domestic tranquility. We got protests, we got people fighting over this stuff. We're pissing off the Muslim world again, which we've already had to deal with, them hating our guts. Now
we're deporting students.
We're deporting legal residents because they had the wrong opinion. This is all, and like, it's impossible to not look at this and go like, hey, what's going on here? And they don't have any answer for that. And you know, the other thing, too, is that it's just, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a lot of people now trying to jump off of the sinking ship. You know, a lot of people who are even like supporters of Israel who are kind of going like, I think they are going a little too far on this one. And they're trying, because it's just, you can see the writing on the wall all over the place, man. Like you're going to be looked at. This is going to be the period. And it's not even like supporting the war in Iraq. It's like much worse than that, dude. Like you're just supporting this destruction of these. They just launched another offensive on Gaza City the other day. They're bombing rubble. Like it's just it's biblical levels of evil. And you know, we're sitting here like, even as we're having this conversation now, I remember like coming on the podcast like a couple years ago, and like when this conflict first started, and then when it would go, and it was almost like I was coming on like to be like, look, let me present the argument for why we shouldn't support what Israel's doing here, and let me like try to like present the other side of the debate. I feel now like the debate's over. I don't even think there's like much of a debate to be had. I'll keep doing them if somebody wants to come debate about the issue. But what are we talking about here?
Again, Joe Rogan has come clear together with Dave Smith that it's clear that sometimes the pro-Israel do not understand that the things that Israel is doing at Gaza or in Gaza is quite dangerous and quite anti-Semitic than they may ever think. And this is what is happening, that majority of the people who support Israel do not understand that no one hates Jews, by the way, and no one wants to hate Israel. But if you want to have a homeland by occupying someone's land and committing the crimes we are seeing and double tapping hospitals, it becomes so hard to defend you. And this is where Joe Rogan and Dave Smith explain that somehow the PR game is done for Israel. There's no way you can come and convince people that this is a good country. This is a good country that is the only democracy in Middle East. Things have changed. And what is happening is that as much as we don't want to preach this and to talk about this issue, is that it's the high time the Zionists to wake up and realize that, oh, things are changing. The new technology is here. We cannot commit some crime because the world will know about it. This is not in 1940. And this is what Dave Smith is saying, that the moment you commit some crimes today, just know that the world will know and the world will fight you back, because it's easy to spread this news so easily and people can see the crimes you're doing. And it's not that you are living in a bubble that you think everyone is ignorant and you think that you are the only one speaking the truth and the other people are speaking lies. And this is where they are failing, and they need to understand that it's time. It is time to stop whatever is happening, because you're making it so hard. You're making it so hard for Jews to live because they'll be labeled as Zionists. And whenever people criticize Israel and they are labeled anti-Semitic, it becomes so hard because we don't understand what is happening. What is anti-Semitic and what is not? And these are the issues that today you see when people who label Dave Smith as anti-Semitic, yet he is a Jew. And the things that are being committed here, they have nothing to do with Judaism. They have everything to do with Zionism. And what is Israel today is a Zionist country, not a Jewish homeland. We need to understand this because we had so many Jews living in Africa, living in the Middle East. And today in Iran, we have more than 12,000 people living there who are Jewish. So whatever we see today is not the actual Jewish homeland, but a Zionist homeland. And they need to wake up and see things are not okay. We need to change our behaviors and wake up and start behaving like humans. What do you say about this? Do you agree with that, Dave Smith, that the PR game is dead for Israel the moment they started committing these kind of crimes in broad light in terms of in an age where spreading information is so easy? Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I'm your host, James.